What's up, everyone? I'm Jenny.
And I'm Jessie.
You're listening to Milkshakes and Ghosts.
This episode is brought to you by
Sinister Brew Coffee isn't your ordinary cup of joe. It's a bold, horror-themed, small-batch coffee company owned by veterans who dare to take your taste buds on a dark and delicious journey.
From cosmic creations to cryptid-inspired blends, every roast comes with a sinister twist. Handcrafted for those who crave something truly unique.
It's not just coffee. It's an experience steeped in mystery, macabre storytelling, and flavors that are to die for.
Dare to step in the shadows and join the Sinister family at sinisterbrewcoffee.com.
Where every cup reminds you that the darkness is delicious.
Mom, I need to tell you something. It's important.
Okay, what's up, Jessie?
So, I kind of forgot to tell you, but the other day I had this dream where I was at the store and I was just shopping and we had to get balloons that had the number 14 on them. And now before I went to bed that night, I just wanted to say that I was praying to God because I wanted to get closer to Him. So then, anyway, after the dream happened, I woke up and I was like, huh? I said, search this number up. So I searched the number 14 up, and it turns out it's associated with Jesus Christ. Crazy? Or not, like.
Wow, that's really awesome. Maybe it's a message because you have been seeking Him lately. I remember you downloaded an app with the Bible and stuff. I know we don't get religious on this podcast, but sometimes the supernatural does go beyond ghosts. I've had my own experiences with God that I consider supernatural. I always believe that science explains everything. But Jessie, you and I have learned this past year that there are things that just can't be explained. And more prayer is always needed. We always pray every time we go on ghost investigations. It doesn't matter what you believe in, as long as you believe in something.
Yeah. Anyway, as you all know, and probably questioned, why haven't we done ghost hunting in a while? Well, the reason is because the last time we went ghost hunting, sadly we forgot to pray and something followed us home. So the theme of this lesson is praying is important.
Facts. Like I said, it doesn't matter what you believe in, but you should believe in something. There's a lot of bad things in this world that will leech onto you. We have experienced it for ourselves.
Anyway, Mama, what y'all drinking?
I am drinking an English toffee milkshake. This is really good.
I don't believe that. And what in the world is that?
This is a milkshake that is very delicious, Jessie. But I did kind of change the ingredients, so I just made it better.
Well, what's in it?
So I drizzled caramel all over my cup. I always drink my milkshake in a Starbucks tumbler with a straw.
Yeah, totally.
Same. After I drizzled the caramel, I smashed Health English toffee candle with chocolate on a small plate and set it aside. I smashed it with a hammer. I blended vanilla ice cream, the toffee bits, chocolate, and I did add one thing that is very dear to me right now. That's the only thing I changed in the ingredients, the one thing I added.
I knew it. You seem more awake than usual. Anyway, before I asked what coffee you had, you were not strong enough to pound no hammer on some toffee chocolate or whatever. Anyway, what kind of coffee did you add?
As you know, Jessie, we ordered a whole bunch of coffee from Sinister Brew.
Oh my gosh! That's what you put? I love their hot cocoa and marshmallows. It tastes so good. Anyway, what flavor Sinister Brew coffee did you add?
I added Barbara's Brew, chocolate raspberry coffee. Oh, it's so good. It made my milkshake more flavorful. I know that might seem like a weird mix to throw in, but believe it or not, it works. And I tasted it before I threw it in the milkshake. You know I did. I took like 3 sips and it was good without the milkshake, but man, them two things blended together, I don't know, it it does something for me, so I'm very much awake today.
That doesn't sound too bad.
It's really good. After I mixed it in a blender, I garnished the top with whipped cream and a little bit of more health English toffee bits and little pieces of Hershey's chocolate.
I know it must be good if you put Sinister Brew in it. I'm taking it you got it from an online recipe?
Yeah, I sure did. This delicious milkshake was from HersheyFoodService.com. I will put it in the show notes if anyone else is interested in trying it, along with Sinister Brew's website. If anyone is interested in purchasing their coffee, they have all kinds of flavors with a spooky twist. They also offer treats, mugs, and, we did buy one. Jesse, you better give me back that mug, by the way. That is mine.
No! I love the mug. It's so cute. It says if it's not Sinister Brew, it's Boo Sheet with the ghost on it. I used it to drink hot cocoa when we got it from them.
I plan on buying much more stuff. We're almost out of coffee, so I definitely got to reorder. So Jesse, what are you drinking today? Because I know you are not drinking coffee, but you're drinking obviously something that's making you really hyper. So what is it?
I'm hyper. My recipe is called the Perfect Peanut Butter Shake, and I got my recipe from allrecipes.com.
So it's not just a regular peanut butter milkshake? What makes it perfect?
Anything with peanut butter is always perfect.
I'm not gonna lie, I have to agree with you because peanut butter is really yummy.
I mixed vanilla ice cream, peanut butter, and milk, and blended it up. As everyone knows, I prefer dairy-free products, but you can use regular dairy products if you prefer. I'll link this simple recipe in the show notes for anyone who wants to try.
I feel like one of us has already made this recipe before.
Maybe. I can literally never keep track of what we make since we're always drinking milkshakes.
Do you want to stop drinking milkshakes? Are you complaining?
Never!
So when you go to the doctor, Jesse, and they ask, what's your blood type? What are you going to tell them?
My blood type is milkshake.
We drink too much, man.
So today we are going to be discussing one of San Diego's most haunted sites, the Whaley House. And we decided to both cover this.
I get shivers down my spine from just hearing the name. Jesse, I've got a fun fact about the Whaley House.
What is it?
In 2005, Life magazine named it America's Most Haunted House.
Impressive! We should visit, but before we continue, I need to write it on our to-do list, so let's do that.
Girl, I'm 2 steps ahead of you. Look at our to-do list real quick.
Oh my gosh! It's already on there! When did you write that on there?
This morning while preparing for this episode with Jack.
I'm glad it's on our to-do list.
The Whaley House is one of Southern California's most beautiful historic homes, constructed in 1857 for the Whaley family. The grand home has witnessed San Diego's history from a front row seat and has served many purposes throughout its lifetime. The Whaley House was considered a mansion during its time and has served the community as a general store and even a theater. However, the time between the home's changing faces was filled with chaos and heartache.
This episode is brought to you by...
Tired of the same old coffee routine? Craving a cup of paradise? Introducing Kona Coffee House LV. Bring the magic of Kona Coffee straight to you, wherever you are.
Kona Coffee House LV uses only the finest 100% organic Hawaiian Kona coffee beans, made by perfection by Sammy Scrumptious herself. These gluten-free and preservative-free beans are a rare specialty, offering a unique and unforgettable taste experience.
No need to wait in line. Kona Coffee House LV is mobile, delivering a taste of paradise. Book Kona Coffee today for corporate events, parties, venues, and so much more.
Follow Kona Coffee on Instagram at Kona Coffee House LV for updates on upcoming events. Visit their website at KonaCoPale.com to learn more and schedule your Kona Coffee experience today. Don't miss out on this exclusive opportunity to savor the world's finest coffee.
Let's get into the history of the Whaley House. The Whaley House was maintained by a live-in caretaker who belongs to the Save Our Heritage organization or the Soho. The head of the Whaley family, Thomas, designed the home for himself beginning in 1856 and completed it just a year later. It was the first of its kind in the city, and Thomas was quoted saying, "My new house will be the most comfortable, handsome, and convenient place in the town or within 150 miles of here."
Can't believe he described his home as handsome. You said that. I just looked at you like, huh? It's handsome? Well, I hate to say this. Spoiler alert, Thomas was really wrong on that one.
He sure was. While it's true that the home was beautiful, the horrors that followed after the birth of Thomas's son, Thomas Jr., was beyond belief. His son soon contracted scarlet fever and died just 18 months after his birth. Not soon after that, a fire broke out and destroyed part of the Whaley home that Thomas was using as a general store. He had lost so much in just a few short months, and Whaley decided the home was too filled with heartbreak to stay. He soon moved on to San Francisco, leaving the Whaley house in a state of abandoned disrepair. Over the next 10 years, Thomas Whaley invested a stock that proved highly beneficial to his finances. With his affairs finally in order and his mental health back on the upswing, Thomas moved his family back to San Diego to attempt to repair what had been ruined by the fire so many years prior.
Thomas would have been better if he had just stayed away.
You're absolutely right, Mom. In 1868, the home was completely renovated, and yet again, happiness and good fortune were proven to be short-lived for Thomas and his family. In 1885, one of their 6 children, Violet, decided to take her own life.
I didn't have that in my notes. Why did she decide to take her own life?
Okay, Mom, the tea is about to get really hot, so don't burn your mouth.
Well, technically, it's more like coffee, since I'm drinking Sinister Brew coffee in my milkshake.
I forgot, you're a coffee drinker. So for me to answer your question, we need to go back in 1882. Violet and Anna Whaley married George and John Whaley, but just 2 weeks after Violet's marriage to George, she awoke one morning during their honeymoon to find her husband gone. It turns out that George was nothing more than a heartless con man who only married Violet in hopes of securing some of the family's fortune. When this didn't happen, he bolted as soon as possible, leaving Violet heartbroken and alone. So, to make a long story short, George is a loser.
Girl, he sure is. What a loser. That's such a tragedy that Violet killed herself. She had so much to live for. Now, I'm assuming she must have been beautiful with a name like Violet. I love that name. The flower is very pretty too.
Violet is a really nice name. Now, I'm going to discuss how tragedy just seems to continue. In today's story, there is really no silver lining.
Sorry for those of you listening out there, but you should know our show by now, okay? It's very rare that there's a happy ending.
If there was, we would have no ghost.
Then we would have no stories to tell.
Anyway, during the time period, society shunned women who returned home without their husbands. Divorce was frowned upon, and it must have been the woman's fault if she was unable to keep a husband. Violet and George's divorce took almost a year to finalize, and Violet never recovered from the shame. At the age of 22, she shot herself in the chest and left nothing behind but a suicide note that quoted a poem by Thomas Hood. Mad from life's history, swift to death's mystery, glad to be hurled, anywhere out of this world.
There was another Whaley daughter named Corinne who was engaged to be married when her sister Violet passed. But her fiancé broke that union off. Can you imagine that?
Another loser.
Let's put the L, Jessie, on our foreheads for loser. Ready? Loser!
Why did he break the engagement off?
Well, after the scandal with Violet's suicide, it was rumored that the Whaley family was cursed. Girl, People thought they were cursed.
Bro, I swear people are gonna be people.
Whoa. Wait, did you just bro me? Did you just say bro to me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That reminds me of that TikTok we did a long time ago. You go from, what was it? Mama to mother to mom to bro.
It's true.
Back then, there were so many scandals and, oh, if you couldn't bring a husband home or if he left, it was your fault. And, oh, the family's curse. It just sucks how people can be sometimes.
I swear people are gonna be people.
Again, I'd rather deal with the dead than the living for that reason, okay? People will always people. So, after these events, Thomas built a new family home not far from the original house. The original property was left vacant for nearly 20 years.
That's a long time for a house to sit there with no one living in it.
It really is. So, it's in the new home that Thomas is living in, right? Where he meets his fate. Thomas Whaley passed away in 1888.
Before researching this episode, I always thought he died in the original Whaley house he built.
Yeah, girl, so did I. The original Whaley house began to fall into complete disrepair in the years that followed Thomas. Thomas Whaley's son, Francis, took over restoring the Whaley homestead. Instead of making it his home, Francis turned it into a tourist attraction and promoted its history while serenading guests with his guitar. The remaining Whaley family all lived in the original home until their deaths.
Let me just say that Francis was way ahead of his time. It's such a smart move to make the home into a tourist attraction, and he got to play his guitar too.
Yeah, he was ahead of his time. It was a smart move to try and at least make a profit, but it's also a little morbid since there were deaths and suicide in the home, and it was his family members, you know?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So the Whaley House stories are told in magazines, movies, and television shows. That's because this place is super haunted. Now, let's get into what you all came here for. The ghosts.
This episode is brought to you by...
Looking for a reputable notary republic at an affordable price? Well, look no further. Mrs. Ashley Lutchman is now taking appointments and accepting new clients. Jesse and I needed some documents to sign for our podcast.
We wanted someone with experience who was well known and didn't cost a fortune.
That's right. One of our good friends had worked with Mrs. Lutchman regarding some legal paperwork they needed notarized and recommended her to us.
She was professional, efficient, and affordable.
If you need important documents notarized, email Ashley Lutchman at ASHLEYLUTCHMAN@gmail.com. Ashley Lutchman can be found on Instagram and TikTok. I will link her socials and her email in our show notes.
Ashley Lutchman is remote and commissioned in the state of Florida.
All right, Jesse, let's get spooky. Even before the tragedy destroyed them, the Whaley family reported that their home was haunted by a poltergeist, who they believed was the spirit of James Robinson, who was hanged on the land for stealing a boat before the Whaley house was even built.
That's right! Now just think about that for a moment. The land was already cursed even before the home was ever built. But wait, it gets worse.
Nah, it can't get any more worse than this.
But it can. Not only did the spirit of a boat-jacking thief haunt their property, but the Whaley house was also built atop of an old cemetery.
Okay. So there's already death on the land from a hanging, but now you've got a cemetery underneath it all?
Yep, it's super spooky. The Whaleys always heard footsteps in the home, while people passing by reported seeing apparitions in the home's windows while no one was home. During the home's restoration periods, visitors and construction workers later reported hearing unexplained sounds, sights, and even smells. Most people felt a strange presence while inside the home. This presence was believed to be James. He was known to torment the living by leaving muddy footprints and stomping on the floor into the later hours of the evening.
Okay, rude. That's just rude. You telling me, one, he ain't letting people sleep, and that he leaving his muddy footprints all over the floor? What? Man, all this stuff, honestly though, sounds like homes I've lived in before you were born, Jesse. Except for the muddy footprints. I would have killed the ghost again. I didn't have ghost hunting equipment back then either. It would have really helped if I had.
Did you get anything on video?
Back then, there were no cell phones, believe it or not, and camcorders were huge and heavy. So no, I did not.
I forgot you were old.
All right, now, don't make me turn this podcast off.
19!
Enough with the 1900 jokes. Goodness.
So, further adding into the bone-chilling stories of the home is the baby that's heard crying.
Anytime there's a ghost story, there's always children in it or someone wearing white. It always makes it really creepy.
The infant heard crying is said to be Thomas Jr. People hear him crying in the halls, giggling in the distance, and some people even hear tiny footsteps.
Oh, that's super sad and super scary. People also have reported seeing a young woman's apparition on the second floor of the home. Many believe this to be the spirit of Violet Whaley. Her longing to linger in the home is attributed to the fact that she would lock herself away in her second floor room while mourning the loss of her short-lived marriage. Cold spots are frequently felt throughout the home, and the stairwells are a hot spot for full-bodied apparition. Thomas Whaley has even been seen sporting his favorite top hat and coat while peering down from the top of the stairs. There's also eyewitness accounts of objects moving on their own, swinging chandeliers, and lights churning on and off by unseen hands.
The tragic events surrounding the Whaley house and family surely adds to the negative energies and hauntings of the home today. It seems that any happiness the family had was only for a moment. Their lives were filled with near constant sorrow and despair.
And in case anyone listening is wondering what happened to the Whaley home, well, today the residence serves as a museum that is open to the public. And if anyone is interested in seeing the Whaley House Museum, you can buy tickets at whaleyhousesandiego.com. I will link it in our show notes. They offer all different kinds of packages, including the Whaley House After Hours Paranormal Investigations. What? Did you know they offered that?
That's the one we need to get.
We are definitely grabbing tickets for a paranormal investigation.
I'm super excited to go.
For all of you listening, assuming you're still with us, hello? Hello? Hello?
What are you saying hello for? We can't even talk to them. We can't hear them.
I'm just making sure they're still there and not sleeping. Well, you guys don't leave yet. Stick around for the bloopers after the show announcements.
That's right. Our wonderful assistant Jack likes to take all of our mistakes and put it in the end of the show for a good laugh.
And it's a good thing he came up with that, especially after all the morbid things we discuss. Our bloopers are really a good palate cleanser.
It really is. Well, folks, that's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in. If you have a spooky story and would like to have it read on air, please write us at milkshakesghosts@gmail.com. If you would like to follow our socials, we're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, Twitter, and Patreon.
If you would like to become a Patreon member, please visit patreon.com/milkshakesandghosts. I will link it in the show notes along with all of our other socials.
Join Patreon for free monthly gifts and cool perks.
Let's give a shout out to our awesome, amazing Patreon members! Mr.E from Special Delivery Show. Check out the Special Delivery Show. His podcast takes interviews to a whole new level. I'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Sinister Brew Coffee, where every sip reminds you that the dark side is delicious. Kona Coffee House LV, Hawaiian coffee delivering a taste of paradise. And ASHLEYLUTCHMAN, a reputable notary republic at an affordable price. All of our sponsors are listed in our show notes along with links to contact them. I'd also like to give a big shout out to PsychoFiend13. He posts really cool content and has weekly lives with some amazing people. Go give him a follow. I will link his TikTok account in our show notes. Are you ready, Jessie? Because I know you're going to go real fast. Are you ready? Take a deep breath, girl.
M&G VIP members also include Deathrock 1875, Electric 222, Claire Jones, Ron and Jenna, Mothman Prophecy 424, Vampires Rock 222, The Blonde Happenings with Kelli and Brenda, Witches for Life 1892, Bigfoot is Real 76, Bloodsucker 95, Nightmares 888, Witchy Talk 65, Dracula Rock 22, Tina and Ruben, Ramos 1972, Marie, Mary, and The Paranormal Duo, Laura and Joanne, Bruce All Spooky, Harmony, Jonah Vark, The Dark Side, Ronald H, Joe Santana, Myra Miles from That's So Spooky, Jada Kumar H, Jonah S, Jean from The Truth Is Out There, Nadia and Edward, Carl and Becca, Mandy and Kenneth, Jules and Christina, Joel from The Paranormal Countdown, Alan, Deathstar 1, Maxine, Terror Screams, Jules M, Victor and Myra, Haunted Canadian History, Melissa and Dan, The Truth Is Out There with Carly and Allison. I kind of messed up a bit because there's so many names and I was going so fast.
Woo, girl. You go, girl. Thank you all so much for being Patreon members. We appreciate each and every single one of you.
And remember, keep drinking milkshakes.
And keep being spooky!
It's time for bloopers!
Oh, how should I do it?
I know. I'll turn him into a flea.
A harmless little flea. And then I'll put that flea in a box.
And then I'll put that box in another box and then mail it to myself.
And when it arrives... And then I'll smash it with a hammer!
It's spooky season, 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 it's spooky season, it's spooky season, 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 spooky season.